Every now and then you come across a hidden little gem and wonder why it was not a bigger part of film history. Enter The Incident, from 1967, directed by Larry Pierce. A cheap-looking, coarse black and white social commentary movie was lost in the shuffle while lustrous pictures such as The Graduate and Bonnie and Clyde were busy breaking boundaries and have every right to be remembered as classics. But what of The Incident? The story begins with two punks leaving a pool hall, drifting the streets looking to entertain themselves. They encounter a man and decide to beat him up. We have no idea about the backstories of these men, nor why they're resorting to such forms of personal entertainment, but off the bat we're made well aware that these are the antagonists of this story.
You stink. Huh? You stink. I could've laid him out with one shot.
It's more fun this way. Keeps you in shape.
Come on.
For the next hour or so we could get what could almost be considered short stories in their own right. Couples and individuals leave parties, make telephone calls or argue in the street. They all have one thing in common. Their stories end with them getting on the train and taking their seats, joining the others along the way. We all know what's coming. Eventually the punks from the prologue are going to appear on the train, but the movie waits nearly a full hour before they resurface. Well, after finally arriving, they proceed to manipulate and elicit fear into each passenger for their own amusement, while the others watch on and do nothing. The characters are so blatantly stereotypical that even a dumb person would know how to push their buttons. Perhaps this is intentional. These drunk villains of the story are not concerned about outsmarting the passengers, but hope to exploit the evident vulnerabilities that seem kind of obvious. We have the concealed homosexual, an arguing Jewish couple, an alcoholic, the young couple kissing at the back of the train, soldiers, and even an unconscious homeless man sprawled out on the seat. One could even argue that this train ride would have been uncomfortable in its own right without the inclusion of the punks. One of the common responses to this movie was that it shows the apathy of humans who sit back and do nothing and then expect help when a problem reaches them. Although the movie does display this to some degree, I'd have to disagree with the assessment overall. Multiple characters in the movie rise to the occasion only to get shot down when they don't have backup. The alcoholic tells them off, a wife stands up and demands to leave the train, an old couple try to barge past them, and we'll get to the country soldier in a moment. The problem here is that although they have numbers and guts, they just can't band together to use them. We're given a couple of scenes that include the punks parading a homosexual around the train while he begs for help, and a large black man who hates the white race is degraded and pushed to breaking point, but never actually attacks them.
Okay, you made your point.
No, you started shooting your mouth off. I didn't make no point. I just want to tell you I don't like black. Because black's like dirt, you know?
I find it mind-boggling that a whole train car jam-packed full of people who had recently been antagonised would not have intervened, nor do I think the man would have restrained himself from attacking after being called a word that, well, I'm not going to repeat in this review. The bad guys are played by Martin Sheen and the late Tony Musante. While still a great debut from Sheen, it's Musante who steals the show. You can tell that he's having as much fun as he possibly can while playing the character, and every time he's on screen you just can't take your eyes off the guy. My personal favourite scene involves Musante having a verbal spar with a country boy soldier played by Beau Bridges, who initially tries to talk to them in a non-confrontational manner. He tries to play along, empathise, then peacefully request that the scenario quiet down for the duration of the journey.
Yeah, I'm from Oklahoma. Is that supposed to be a big deal?
No, not especially.
Is a uniform supposed to be a big deal?
No, not especially.
I mean, is it supposed to mean you're better than us or something? I mean, like your feet don't stink?
No, I don't think we're better than you, son. No. However, I do think we're a little quieter.
Every attempt by the punks to get inside his head seems to fail. This resilience has an adverse effect, however. The guys just can't insult the soldier successfully, and with the refusal to rise to the bait, the punks feel they aren't in control anymore, so they need to make up their failed attempts by getting physical. In one quick second, this country boy realised that the dangers of the city are real and that some people are just beyond reasoning with, at least with words. Not a perfect film by any means, but beyond its grainy independent feel, it tries to show us how certain people would react in such a situation, a circumstance that the filmmakers tried their absolute best to make as uncomfortably real as possible, despite clearly being a work of fiction. You could argue that the film is as relevant today as it would have been in any decade of the 20th century, and probably in the future too. Switch a fair amount of common sense off, Put yourself in the shoes of an unarmed human being, watch the incident, and truly ask yourself, without being too macho, in this situation, what would I do?